Our final speaker has lived such an inspiring life that he was the subject of an award-winning documentary called Rise and Shine. He's fondly known for his role as captain of the Vancouver Whitecaps, but his passion is young people and ensuring that their love for sport is balanced with excellence in other areas of their lives. Jay himself has a degree in industrial design and is an astute businessman. He's a great role model for aspiring athletes and is developing a sports camp in Pemberton to instill these values. Please welcome Jay DeMerit.
Hi, I'm Jay DeMerit. Many of you may know me as the former captain of your Vancouver Whitecaps. Give it up for Vancouver Whitecaps, everyone. I'm also the previous captain of Watford FC in the English First Division and the Premier League, and also played, oh, thank you, that's very nice of you. You must be English. And I also played for the U.S. men's national team for over 5 years, culminating by playing every minute of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa for the U.S. Now, soccer, of course, thank you. Now, soccer, of course, is what I'm known for, but I've never actually been just a soccer player. Growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the son of 2 gym teachers, sport and education, of course, have been very natural in my life. My dad was a football and track coach at my local high school, and some of my first memories, of course, were sitting on the benches of his teams and just being one of the boys. As a kid, I played every sport: soccer, basketball, hockey, track, wrestling, swimming, you name it, I did it. But I was also just a kid. I rode bikes in the neighborhood with my buddies. We built tree forts in the backwoods. We did all sorts of kid things. We were teenagers. We did what we wanted to do, and we had fun. When I got to high school, it was when I had to settle on 3 sports. In the spring, I would run track. In the winter, I would play basketball. And in the fall, I would play soccer. But it's interesting now, looking back as a professional soccer player, how those other 2 sports had a huge influence on my career. In basketball, I learned how to jump, controlled, strong, much like you do on every header and every corner that I've done for the past 12 years. Basketball also taught me the fundamentals of defending. Even though when I was in high school, I was only 5'5" and 115 pounds until I was 17 years old, my job on the basketball court was to mark their shooter and shut him down. So imagine me as an 18-year-old, not so young kid anymore, as a soccer player, when my coach asked me if I would change from forward to defender, having never played it before. But that turned out to be the best decision of my life, and basketball helped me with that transition. After high school, I went to university, and I had a few choices, but I chose the University of Illinois Chicago because of 3 reasons. One was because I could get out of Green Bay and challenge myself in the big city in the bright lights of Chicago. Second, I can get a small scholarship to go and play a sport that I had grown to love and to help my parents pay for my tuition. But thirdly, and most importantly at the time, was that they had an industrial design program that I wanted to go to school for. For the next 4 years, I managed to be a student and an athlete, and that took a lot of different ways. I learned how to train, I learned how to study, and I learned how to do keg stands. So juggling those 3 things is actually very hard to do. I also learned how to communicate with my bosses, my elders, through various jobs of painting houses, working as a server, all those kind of things that really gave me the life skills necessary to keep moving forward. In design school, I learned about the creative process, how to look at a problem and design a project or a product to enhance that problem, or to solve that problem, or to fix that problem. I learned about art history, color theory. I learned about Salvador Dali and what the Frank Lloyd Wright architecture was all about. And at the end of a successful college career, I thought maybe that I would get drafted to the MLS. But the MLS draft came and I didn't get picked. And I was at a crossroads in my life, but I decided that I would finish school because that was important to me. And I moved to England on my own with nothing but $1,800 that I'd saved up working in a passport to try to make it as a soccer player. And it wasn't always easy. I was living in a friend's attic, playing in the 12th division of the English soccer leagues, making about $40 a game. And as a college graduate, $40 really made my mom very proud when I would give her a call and all those kind of things. But I rested on the things that I had already learned. I learned how to cook healthy, cheap meals. I learned that struggling was part of the process, and to enjoy that struggle and to learn from those things and inspire me to get better every day. My design mentality taught me how to think creatively in situations where I didn't find myself comfortable. It taught me how to think outside the box. It taught me how to go into a locker room of people that I didn't know and be able to relate to them. My communication skills allowed me to talk to a coach and say, hey coach, how do I get better at things, and express what I felt. The next year I signed my first professional contract. And the year after that, I became one of only 9 Americans playing in the Premier League, the biggest soccer league in the world. And it was then when my role changed. In the Premier League, I learned how to deal with pressure, how to be a constant performer, and how hard that actually is. How at the highest level, 1 inch and 1 second makes all of the difference. And for the following 7 years, up until I retired last year, I was elected captain of my team. My teammates were always quick to point out it was because it certainly wasn't because I was the most skilled on the soccer field. But as a captain, you have to wear many hats. You're the central point between the players, the club, the media, and of course the fans. You're the face of the team. You're the voice of the team. You're a friend, a brother, a counselor, a real estate agent, a community ambassador, a counselor, you name it, you got to do it. And you have to have the ability to adapt to the needs of every teammate around you. But more importantly, you have to have the ability to relate to your teammates. And I believe that when you have the ability to relate to your teammates, only then can you lead them. And I think my ability to relate has come from a wide variety of skills that I've created throughout my life. To have other interests, to be good at other things, not just one. But unfortunately, I don't see that much in our young athletes these days. For the past 12 years, I've seen countless youngsters come through our locker room doors, even as young as 16. Coming out of that locker room, and to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed. I asked them questions about what they'd be if they weren't a soccer player. I asked them of their other interests or hobbies, what they do off the field. I see them talk to coaches or to media, and their sentences are filled with words like and ah and like. I ask them what they cook themselves for dinner, and they have no answers. And come to find out, they spend most of their afternoons taking naps or playing FIFA with their buddies and ordering takeout at night. And then down the line, when they get injured and they can't play anymore, or they don't get that contract, or they just lose interest as an older person, they come to me and they say, Jay, what should I do now? What am I going to do? And in the world of sport now, kids at the age of 9 are starting to sign contracts. Single sport curriculum is the norm, and programs like art and music in public schools are being cut. Parents are driving 4 hours one way a couple times a week just to give their 10-year-old a chance at the big time. He's 10 years old. Not to mention the pressure of the parents is at an all-time high, and the concept of nurturing well-rounded leaders first and skilled athletes second has fallen by the wayside. And that's sad because the harsh reality of this situation is that 99% of those kids will never step foot on a professional field. And they're actually going to have to go and be professional at something else, and they're going to need these other skills. But for that small number that do make it, let's challenge them to lead in more ways on and off the field. Let's cultivate more captains. Let's help them learn a broader range of skills that will not only make them better athletes overall, but ultimately make them better human beings and better leaders for tomorrow. I challenge you to do your part, and I promise you I will do mine. Thank you.